And a new report is out from Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE, showing that U.S. deportations of undocumented immigrants hit a 10-year high this year. It shows more than 217,000 people were deported over 12 months. That surpasses numbers recorded during the Trump administration. Now, this spike highlights a significant shift in policy as the Biden administration wraps up its final year in office. Here with us is former DHS advisor and author of the book Terrorists on the Border and in Our Country, Charles Marino. Charles, welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning, Hannah.
Let's take a look at these new deportation numbers by U.S. authorities.
Sure.
More than 271,000. First, I want to ask your impression. Does this number stand out to you?
Well, it does, because the policies of the Biden administration have not changed in terms of allowing migrants to come into the country without verifying such claims as asylum and really not doing any thorough vetting on these individuals. However, one thing that has changed is the messaging coming from the incoming administration. And what you're seeing is you're starting to see law enforcement agencies like ICE and CBP respond to the desires of the Trump administration as opposed to what they've been doing the past 4 years, which is to not focus on enforcing the laws, but processing as many illegal migrants into the country. So it's certainly unique that we're in this transition period right now, and the numbers reflect the change in tide and approach.
So are you attributing the drop in numbers in the last 12 months to the incoming administration?
Oh, I am. And I think we see this all around, including what you were just talking about before I came on with you. You're starting to see sanctuary cities move away from designating migrant, shelters, because they know that they're on the wrong side of this with their own constituencies. They saw the results of the election, and they know that their constituents don't want to see money going to this, a lot of money, by the way. So now what they're doing is they're trying to dumb that down and say, okay, look, we're going to have joint shelters for anyone that may be homeless, as opposed to designating it specifically to illegals. The other thing is sanctuary cities also know there's a lot of money potentially on the chopping block that the Trump administration can withhold from them in the terms of public safety grants coming from taxpayers if they don't start enforcing the law.
Very interesting. Let's talk about ICE, and let's go back to those numbers. They're saying 32% of those deported had criminal histories. Most crossed the border very, very recently. Your reaction to that, Charles?
Well, with 10 to 15 million people coming to the border, we know that some very dangerous people have not only been encountered, but also been allowed in. And the numbers have not decreased in, I would say, about the past 3.5 years. So you're going to have greater encounters with these criminals and suspected terrorists that may be on the watch list, as many of these countries are really essentially sending some very bad people here. If you look at the crime rates in South America and Central America, they have plummeted in places like El Salvador. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is that some very dangerous criminals have chosen to come north and make their way to the United States. So you're going to see greater diplomacy, I think, from the Trump administration in holding these countries accountable, and also continuing to use that power of the purse. We give Central America, the Northern Triangle, any country along the migration path, a lot of money from U.S. taxpayers. And I think there's a potential to use that money as leverage to get these countries to play a more active role. Something that we saw, by the way, under both the Bush and Obama administration with the Merida Initiative.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.